Hello, everybody. Works on Arsenal X. This is a special edition of the podcast. I'm your host, ADV. Joining me is boss man, Mr. Corey Dirrig.
I'm here. Woo!
As always, everybody, of course, we have to throw out the X one more time before, yes, we throw down. This special edition of Arsenal X is kind of dealing with our last episode's Game of the Year discussion. Now, there were some games that some pointers that me and Jesse didn't agree upon, didn't touch base because we had two different views for it, which is good. We both made good solid points, but we just couldn't come to agreement about that nomination. So we brought Corey in because he's on vacation from the podcast, but he's on to help us discuss and kind of break that tie. So if for best indie game and best art direction and best E3 announcement, we had some answers. Best genre this year, game that is a trade-in and that is trade-in material. Best fighting game, best soundtrack. We had 3 honorable mentions. We had best third-party game, best first-party game, and our game of the year. And then we just gave just some personal titles in game of the year and stuff. So Corey, I kind of want to ask you from this list just to go through it. What would you say is the best indie game? Like your personal best indie game? Did you need the nominations again or?
Yeah, just yeah, send me. Yeah, yes.
Okay. So, our best indie game is Rhyme, Wonder Boy, The Dragon Sleep, Cuphead, Battle Chasers Night War, Measures of Mysteria, Sonic Mania, Thumper, Mr. Shifty, Max, Curse of the Brotherhood. You have a live nomination, so if you want to nominate a game, you can, and The Mummy Demastered.
Oh boy. I mean, honestly, I think the one that should win would probably be Cuphead, just because it does so many interesting things.
That actually won was Cuphead.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, and like it's on my list of Xbox games to get after Christmas. Unfortunately, my wallet is not made of infinite funds, so yeah, I will be playing that after the Christmas holiday or whatever. But like, I think Cuphead should win, but honestly, out of the games that I've played, I think Mr. Shifty was a really cool indie game. Like, man, I really loved that game when it came to Switch. Like, I played the crap out of it, and then it came to Xbox later, I know, but I bought it when it came out on Switch, so.
Okay. So, best art direction.
Cuphead.
Yeah.
You don't even have to finish. Cuphead, obviously.
Okay. So, I think this is where we had the problem was best E3 announcement. We might have, and I'm sorry everybody, I forgot to put down the winners and stuff. I was just podcasting and completely forgot to put down the winners. Best E3 announcement. So the choices were PlayerUnknown Battleground, Forza 7, Xbox One X, original Xbox games backward compatibility, Sea of Thieves, Dragon Ball Fighters, Black Desert, The Last Night, Ori and the Blind Forest 2, Anthem, and a live nomination.
Man. I don't even know. Oh boy. I don't even know what to pick for that, because like, I mean Anthem, but
yeah,
like, I don't know, with all the EA stuff, like, I just
Well, I think it still could be Anthem for you because we were impressed by what they shown, and the microtransaction fiasco came later, but at that time when that announcement came, we were pretty hype about Anthem.
Yeah, I think honestly, in terms of like that game, I think Anthem, and I know this is a totally different conversation, but I think Anthem is the game that Destiny needs drastically, just because like there's no competition in that space right now, and like
Yeah.
I know the division's going on, and I know like Anthem's coming, and there's a lot of other games as service out there, but there's nothing quite like Destiny 2 that's new. That's like people are latching onto. You know, the division's 2 years old at this point. You know, it's the game that Destiny desperately needs to light a fire underneath them and say, look, we need to make this. We need to stay competitive, and Destiny's the game we need to do that with. And Anthem is going to be new. It's going to be the new girl on the block. It's going to be the game that's turning heads. Like, oh man, BioWare's making a Destiny-like game. That's going to be awesome. It's probably going to have story in it, which is something Destiny's desperately lacking. It's probably going to have great RPG mechanics, which is something that BioWare does well. You know, you look at Mass Effect, you know, that game, those games do great RPG things, mixing it with third-person action. Like, I think Anthem is going to, if it's done right and it's not shoehorned into this system that the bigger upper echelon of people want it to be, like if BioWare is allowed to do their own thing, I think Anthem's going to be a special game. And it's the game that, you know, the games that I love Destiny, but it's in a point where like I don't really care to play it right now because there's nothing new to do. So
Yeah.
I think Anthem is the game that Destiny needs to light a fire and maybe change it up a little bit. And honestly, Anthem also looks amazing. So
Yeah. So, our best genre this year, open world, platforming, racing, action, survival horror, a live nomination, or first person shooter. I know that survival horror did win this genre, won this category because of like how strong Resident Evil 7 was and Outlast being a really good game. Not too many open world games besides probably like Assassin's Creed Origins is like a big one.
There's not really a lot of open world games in terms of Xbox. Like I know like we could talk about Zelda and Horizon all day, but really the biggest one on Xbox would probably be Assassin's Creed this year, which is a phenomenal game. But I think like first-person shooters, like I don't know how much more you can innovate on that genre anymore, man. Like it's in the same position that I think first-person shooters, good ones, great ones, are in the same position that Forza's in, where like the games are already so great to play that it is so hard to innovate and iterate on those games because those games are already as close to perfection as you can get. You know, like you look at Call of Duty, like say what you will about the campaigns or like how whatever they want to try to do, but the basic first-person shooter mechanics in that game are near flawless. You know, you can't get much better in terms of mechanics than Call of Duty or Halo or even Destiny. Even like those mechanics are so solid and so perfect that it's so hard to iterate on them. So, man, I don't know what you do.
Well, Corey?
Yeah. I'm just.
Oh,
I was waiting. I could see your mouth about to say words, and I was just waiting for you to say words.
Oh, yeah. You have froze for a minute. That's why I'm like. Corey?
No, I'm just staring at you.
Okay. Game that is trading material. So, Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Trade-in material?
Yeah. That is just so bad that you just have to get rid of it. Like, you don't need it no more. Like, the game was, you're just so over it.
I have a pick for that because I already did it.
So, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Mass Effect Andromeda, Destiny 2, something from your backlog, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Sonic Forces, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Need for Speed Payback were the nominations.
You didn't put South Park in there. That's my nomination.
Oh wow!
and I already did it. Like I already traded in South Park.
You didn't beat it yet, right?
I did not beat it, but I have no interest in going back. I just I that like that first one was so good in terms of like creating a tight, concise kind of experience, a nice 12 to 15 hour experience that told a cohesive story, that told a it was basically a long episode of South Park, right? And this one was I played probably like 5 or 6 hours of it, and like within that 5 or 6 hours, like it jumped so many places, and like I love South Park, like I love watching South Park. It's just like I didn't like the grid based fighting. Like I liked the Paper Mario esque style of the first game. Like the superhero stuff I thought should fit perfectly for an RPG video game, and like it just didn't work for me. Like everything I loved about the first game seemed to be like changed, and just the story was so bloated and overly done. Like I just couldn't take it, man. Like I think South Park might be my most disappointing game of the year. Honestly. Like it was so disappointing.
Oh wow! Well, me and Jesse agreed that Destiny 2 was great in material, was trading material. I literally was just like after I finished that game and did some other stuff, I literally uninstalled it and put it back in the case. I didn't trade it in because I don't do that. I feel like I want to have a good library of games, but that just felt like just the in game content, and like it had a good design. It had a what they had was working good, and then when it came to the ending of the game, it fell completely flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, for me, like,
oh, go ahead.
for me, Destiny is a game about iteration, and like it took, and I know like this isn't really an excuse, and I know like a lot of people don't want to acknowledge this either, but like Destiny is a game of iteration, and like it, they get there eventually, but at the same time, like I stopped playing Destiny 1 after like a week and a half, right, until House of Wolves came out and they added content to it, and then I played through the first two expansions, and then the Taken King changed everything, and it took a year for that game to be in a place where people were excited about that game. And like I, as a huge Destiny fan, I know the Destiny cycle of content, and like I expected it to be slow at first. And like I know they've already made announcements that they're fixing a lot of the issues players have, which is good. I'm in a wait and see position on, I'll go back eventually. It's a game of iteration. It's a game of we're going to add content, periodically. I just, I'm going to wait and play it. And like it's not that I don't want to play Destiny. It's just I don't want to play it right now. There's nothing for me to do. So
there's no reason.
Yeah, and like when the next thing comes out, I'll be right back there playing. But at the same time, it's like I played through the Curse of Osiris campaign 3 times. I will get on and buy whatever Zer's buying if I need it. And when they bring out the thing where Zer sells the engrams that are guaranteed to be items that you don't already have, I will be buying every single engram because there are things that I want that I do not have. Helm of Saint 14, for example, for my Titan. That is my helmet. That is my helmet that I wear. Like I have the Vault of Glass Special Edition figure over here on my desk with the Helm of Saint 14 Titan helmet. The next expansion, supposedly you're going to be able to find out what happened to Saint 14. That excites me. I want that helmet. I will go find it. I want hard light. I want some of these other weapons. But, there's no incentive for me to get on because there's no, like... In Destiny 1, there was ways to grind out exotic engrams. And in Destiny 2, there's really not, unless you want to do hundreds of public events and just hope and pray that you get one. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to play the game the way it was intended to be played. And so, Destiny for me, as much as people are upset, like, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm upset. I'd say I'm like disappointed in the fact that I don't log on. Like I used to log on every day to play something, and now there's just like, yeah, I could try to get on and play and reach the 335 cap, but it's just in 2 months, 2 or 3 months, there's going to be a new expansion where that's upped anyway, and I might as well just wait,
Yeah.
And that's how my whole raid team feels. Like, it's just, there's no point. There's not even any point in doing the new raid layer because with all the feedback, like they dropped the light level again for the raid because, people, the way Destiny 1 worked was like to play the content at its current light level, you had to have the new expansions, and that's just how it worked, and people understood that. But with so many new people jumping in, the new people don't really understand that, like, the content and the light level drive and the expansions drive the experience forward. And, like, they locked some content behind the expansion. And, like, they dropped that content back down to the original light level to where, like, I'm now 60 light levels above the recommended raid level, and the prestige raid is 300 on 30 levels above that. Like, and the raid layer is the same way. Like, they added the raid layer to the expansion, and like they added it, and it's a low light level, so there's really no incentive to do that, and there's no new gear for that. So, like, man, I feel like I ran about Destiny all the time for someone who's a big fan. But like, the point of the story is there's really no incentive for me to play right now, and that's okay. For me, Destiny is a pick up every Destiny 2. The way I'm playing it now is like I play it for a few weeks, I'll put it down. When there's new content, I'll jump in and play that for a few weeks, and when it's done, I put it away. And then, it's not an MMO. It is not a consistent flow of content. And people want that, but then they don't want to pay the subscription, like an online MMO subscription, so the content they want isn't being funded. So now they're just in this weird position where people don't really understand what type of game it is. And
I think people understand what it is, but I think a lot of people just feel disappointed and somewhat let down. People
are let down by the in-game stuff. That's the letdown. It's not the content stuff, because the content is there.
But even with the first DLC, people feel like it's a letdown. Like it doesn't. I guess people were expecting, even though it's a new campaign for part of it. A lot of people just feel like, well, pretty much it's the same thing, that when you're finished with that campaign, there's nothing that you really can't do, because when they lock that other part of it behind the paywall, so for something that they got for free, Bungie didn't never make that clear. It was always, this is going to be the new content, these are going to be the new raids or strikes, and no mention of when it is update, certain things are going to be locked out unless you pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if people feel like those missions weren't really up to snuff, because some people feel like, well, this really could have been just in the game itself. There's nothing about it that is sticking out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it has its problems, but that end game was just like, what do you really could look forward to? And and I think a lot of people are just upset that Bungie hasn't thought that far ahead. Just like I think people would have understand them more that if the game gave you end credits and just asked you to start over with a new game plus, then made the game a little bit harder, but offered you different guns and weapons and stuff. I mean, different weapons and armor and stuff, so that your light could grow up. If they would have offered that, and then be like, this is the only way that you could actually raise your level up to like level 30 or something, is doing new game plus on a harder difficulty. I think people would revisit that game from the beginning with that character and redid everything.
Yeah, it's in a rough spot, man. And like I'm a huge Destiny fan. Like I want to see them succeed. I love Bungie. I think they're a great developer. I just think like, they just need to refocus their vision, and like it's hard to balance a game that you want to please the hardcore and the newcomers and the casual audience, and it's like, how do you balance both with giving both people what they want and allowing people to do that? And I hope they figure it out, because gameplay wise, mechanically wise, Bungie or Destiny plays great. It plays great. The guns feel great. The sound design is amazing. The enemy AI is responsive in a way that makes you feel good when you kill enemies. Like it's a fun game. It's just, for an ongoing game, they just need to figure some stuff out. And I can't wait to see what they figure out. It's a waiting period now. So yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was quite a tangent, but
no, that's good. That makes the show. So, best fighting game: Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, ACA Neo Geo Fighters, WWE 2K18, or live nomination. Me and Jesse voted for Injustice 2 for this category.
Yeah, I haven't really played any fighting games this year except for ARMS and Street Fighter 2 on Switch, but like I cannot wait to play Injustice, and like for the simple fact that like we're sort of kind of getting a Ninja Turtles game out of it, like
yes,
like them in the game, like that gets my vote regardless of how good or bad the game is. So I'll have more to say about Injustice after Christmas, because I am getting it for Christmas from my mom. She bought it for me for Christmas. I know what I'm getting for Christmas. I'm one of those people where like people are like, just tell me what you want, order it for me, because you're so hard to buy for. I'm like, I'm not really that hard to buy for. I just but yeah, I'm excited to play Injustice for real, man. And that new Adam trailer came out today. It was like pretty exciting.
Yeah. So I do have it. It's still wrapped up in the plastic. I just gotta put it in. I'm playing too many other games on Xbox, so I gotta get something off of it so I can make room for Injustice.
I mean, like we said on Power Block so many times, there's just so many games to play, and it's hard to keep up sometimes, man. It's just
yeah. So, I think this one, best soundtrack. I think this is one of the ones that we had a problem with, that we conflicted and didn't give an answer. If not, I think we went with Cuphead. I'm not sure. Sorry everybody. So the best soundtrack is Rhyme, Something in Your Backlog, Cuphead, Sonic Mania, and Just Dance 2018.
I'm surprised you didn't really put Destiny's soundtrack in there.
I think the soundtrack was good. It was good, but I think a lot of people don't talk about the soundtrack as much as the other games when it comes to music.
Yeah, I really like Destiny's soundtrack, but like there's two games. I think Cuphead has a great soundtrack, but I think that soundtrack has to be heard while you're playing the game to get the full effect of it, whereas like Sonic Mania I think has a fantastic soundtrack where like it's updated versions of the tracks that plus some remixes, plus some new awesome things that really capture that early 90s like Genesis foundation. And it's just like, the soundtrack is so good. And like I don't think Sonic Mania is a great game. Like, I honestly think, like, man, Sonic is just kind of... I don't know how you fix Sonic, but, like, That game is not great, but the soundtrack is freaking amazing. Oh, in my opinion, I should say, in my opinion.
So what would you go with? Sonic
Sonic
Mania?
Mania.
Okay.
Me.
So, I think we're all three split because I think Jesse said Rainbow Six soundtrack. I think he went with that. So we're going to give it to Ryan, Rainbow Six, Cuphead, and Sonic Mania. And Just Dance, sorry, Just Dance 2018, you lose. So, but Corey, what would be your three honorable mention for Xbox? It could be any game this year or in your backlog or anything. But anything that you play for 2017 for Xbox, what would be your three honorable mentions?
Man, I gotta think about that for a minute.
Well, we know one would be Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Origins is like, if we're doing like straight Xbox Game of the Year, that would be my Xbox Game of the Year. Would be Assassin's Creed Origins. Halo Wars 2 is interesting. I've played it a little bit of it this year. I got it real cheap in a sale, and like I played a little bit of it. I didn't finish it yet. I would like to finish that game at some point, but it didn't feel like the original. Like it did, but it didn't. You know, like so when you have that game and somebody takes over the franchise, that's not like, because Ensemble closed, and so this was Creative Assembly, which is owned by Sega. They do a lot of real-time strategy games. It feels like somebody wants to, like, when somebody takes over a franchise and they want to honor the original games, but also add some flair to it, like their own thing to it. And like when 343 took over Halo from Bungie, Halo 4 to me felt like the evolution of Halo. Like it felt great. It felt like old Halo mixed with, like, you know, they added the sprint, which is a huge deal for that game, ironically. Like Halo 4 just felt amazing. It felt like a Bungie developed Halo game. And like I know a lot of 343 is old Bungie, but like it felt like a Halo game, whereas like this really kind of felt like a Creative Assembly game with Ensemble sprinkled through it instead of an Ensemble game with Creative Assembly sprinkled through it. You know, it was just weird. I don't know, man. It was weird. I wanted to love that game, and like as of right now, I don't care for it. But we'll see. I need to finish that. Maybe that's the game I'll work on this week, so we can talk about it next time. But like, and then I think as I'm really excited for Injustice 2. Like I'm excited to play that game, and I think the game looks great. I think the mechanics play great. I've played it a little bit, but I haven't. Like I've played it at a friend's house. I think it plays great. I think the story is phenomenal for a fighting game. You know, it's crazy how much work went into that. So those are kind of my three for Xbox. And then Cuphead, I think, like, I haven't played it, but it looks really cool, and that's just a cool design. And I think any way you can, like, you need to mention Cuphead in some sort of conversation. Like, you just need to, in terms of like supporting that developer, supporting that game any way you can. You just need to say Cuphead in any conversation.
Yes. Well, our best third-party game. So the nominations were Resident Evil 7, NBA 2K18, Assassin's Creed Origins, Shadow of War, Injustice 2, Destiny 2, The Evil Within 2, South Park: The Fractured But Whole, Wolfenstein 2, Call of Duty World War II, The Surge, Agents of Mayhem, or a live nomination.
It's Assassin's Creed Origins for me.
Okay.
I mean, that game is my Xbox Game of the Year. You know, I mean, in terms of Game of the Year nominations for everything, like that's in my conversation in general. And like since the my other two games on my list aren't on the Xbox platform, like Assassin's Creed is like the best game on the platform this year for sure.
Yes. So, okay. So our best first party game is Halo Wars 2, Cuphead, Forza 7, Phantom Dust, or a live nomination.
That's so hard to because I didn't really play a lot of the first party stuff for Xbox this year. Like Forza's always amazing, but like the last Forza game I bought was Forza 5, and for me, like it's not a game that I need to go out and buy every year, you know. You know, I do want to play Forza Horizon 3, but Forza's always great. I think Cuphead probably deserves that nomination for first party games.
Yeah.
Just because it's the only game that's really gotten really critically acclaimed this year and sold well and didn't have any backlash or controversy surrounding it. Like Forza 7 is great, but they changed a lot about that game that fans are upset about, which caused it to get a lower score. Halo Wars 2 didn't set the world on fire. PUBG is kind of broken. So yeah, Cuphead, I think.
Yeah.
Probably wins first party game of the year.
And the Game of the Year nomination is Injustice 2, Cuphead, Forza 7, Assassin's Creed Origins, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, Destiny 2, or any live nomination.
Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed Origins is Xbox Game of the Year for me. But I do think Wolfenstein deserves some sort of recognition. I haven't played it. I'm waiting. Well, I did get it for Xbox for Christmas also, but like I'm really waiting to dive into that until like, you know, I think the way a lot of people are talking about it deserves some sort of recognition in terms of like the story they're trying to tell and making you know, a pixelated face from the early 90s into one of the most beloved characters this year, and the fact that that game is telling a story that is very like unintentionally relevant to kind of what we're seeing in real life right now. Like that's a story that's a game that's worth talking about. So I would probably put Wolfenstein up there, even though I haven't really played it, but I've watched some of it, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Assassin's Creed Origins is definitely the the Xbox game of the year for me. Like, oh.
Yeah, me and Jesse went with, I believe, with Cuphead. We went with.
Yeah, so. Which is fair. Like, that game deserves a lot, too. Like, I would, if I played Cuphead, I might have a difference of opinion, but I haven't, like I said, I haven't played Cuphead yet, so.
Okay. Well, our last part of the show, of the segment, I should say, do you have any personal titles, like best of something or worst of something, and what game would fit that title?
I mean, I think if I was to do like my own segment, like a most disappointing game, South Park would probably be in that conversation. Dude, okay. I wanted to like South Park a lot, and like just because like I love the show and I love the first game, and that game was really disappointing, man. I'm very sad that game was disappointing because I wanted to like it so much. And it just didn't do anything for me. Like, it really just didn't do anything for me. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. I feel like even though we do this show, like I feel like I've kind of neglected Xbox a lot this year, just because like it's been an exciting year for Nintendo games, and Horizon was amazing, and Gravity Rush 2 was amazing, and like to be fair, Xbox didn't really have a ton of first party offerings this year, you know, and the ones that came out were less than great, you know, and and Mass Effect Andromeda was something I was looking forward to, and that was kind of disappointing. I mean, it wasn't terribly disappointing. I think I liked it, what I played, more than most people. Like, I thought it was cool that we got a new story in the Mass Effect universe, and I still want to go back and finish that game. Like, I really do.
Yeah. I think you should. You should go back and finish it.
Yeah, and like I really want to finish it, and there was just so many other games this year that I feel like I neglected my Xbox, and I'm sad that I did. But the spring is going to be a big deal for Xbox this year, in the coming months. We got Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, State of Decay, some indie stuff. So we're going to have a lot to talk about in the coming months, especially for Sea of Thieves, because we still don't really know what that game is, and it got a release date, and we're gonna do some fun Let's Plays with Sea of Thieves, and Destiny, I guess, could be in there for like disappointing, but at the same time, the initial run I had with Destiny 2 was amazingly fun. It was way better than Destiny 1. So like, how do you balance a games as service to the point where like, oh man, I've put 120 hours in this game and it's just now getting disappointing. I'm kind of disappointed. Like, is that really count as being disappointing? So it's there. I don't really know how you balance that, but for me, South Park is probably the most disappointing game of the year. I'm disappointed that Xbox didn't have a lot of first party stuff this year. I think putting out a new box is a good thing for them. I think that the X has done wonders for the company in terms of turning the company around. Like, and the S is a great box for people who don't have 4K stuff. But I think 2018 is going to be a big year for Xbox in terms of first party. The 3-year dev cycle. It's time for Halo. When are we going to see that? There's still a lot to see, and I'm excited to see what they do. Honestly, I think 2018, my most anticipated thing for 2018 is to see Microsoft succeed on the first party front.
Yes,
that's my most anticipated thing, because we know, like, I'm excited for all the Nintendo stuff. We've talked about that on Arsenal X or on a PAL block. I'm excited for all of those things. Like, the hype level for Nintendo is exciting, but we're just anticipating the release dates for those games. Whereas, we don't have a roadmap the way we do for Nintendo and PlayStation that for Xbox. So my most anticipated thing is to see what Xbox comes out and announces and delivers. I want to see if they deliver on the things that they announce. So
yeah, like from this year's E3, as I was rewatching it, because I've been rewatching a lot of the E3 press conferences, and just noticing things, and just like going back and seeing what they're going to be offering. I'm just like, some of this stuff I can't wait for it to drop, or it really needs to come out soon to support this platform. Mm-hmm. Or in the Blind Forest 2 is a big win for them, because as much as I thought that PlayerUnknown Battleground would be a big win, with the situation that it is in now, it doesn't seem to be that way. Mm-hmm. And I think as much as the employees at Microsoft are really doing their best to help PUBG on their platform, that developer, I feel like now, after the reports, I think they should have kept that on PC and waited till that game is fully completed. Yeah. I feel like they don't have not enough console experience. So they could keep updating and stuff, but I think they should have really, from seeing it now, because I was hyped about that they won, they got this exclusive, And because I thought it would be a big win, and out the gate they wouldn't have no problems playing this game, definitely on One X, and it doesn't seem to be that way. So now that I'm seeing it like live and stuff, I think that it's still a good win for Microsoft. But I think that those developers, that team, I think they should have made something separate for Xbox One X. I think they should have came together and tried to make some kind of indie game to know the ins and outs of the OX, because they made a game for the Xbox platform, but they I don't think they fully recognize how difficult and what it would take to make that game run smoothly on the X.
Yeah, and like that game, I don't know. I know it's still like a preview program game, but like
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm not gonna sit here and like trash the game just yet because that game was like that on PC when it came out in March. So like
hmm
I know the coalition is helping develop the gameplay mechanics for that game, so
yeah,
hopefully it'll play a lot like like Gears of War. So that'd be cool. But I this is why I don't get caught up in like early access or game preview stuff because like a lot of people don't understand like we understand what that is, but a lot of people who just buy an Xbox and want to shoot things like may not understand what game preview is, and they jump in and buy this game that they've been hearing about and it plays like garbage. They're gonna be upset. And like
right.
it's too soon to be upset for PUBG for people who understand this stuff, but I don't know. I want to wait and have this discussion like February, March, April, see how the game evolves, and like we're obviously going to keep tabs on it on the show because it's an
Yes,
important Xbox property now. But like at the same time, it's disappointing that the game isn't at least up to snuff with the PC version that's out already. Or like a little behind. They don't have the second map. They don't have the. I don't think like vaulting is in it. I don't think. We read some funny tweets where like people were falling through the world and people were getting killed by spawning trucks and stuff. Like, it's sad that at
the
least
bugs.
that part didn't get fixed before they released this. But at the same time, game preview program, there's things that are going to be broken. It's going to be broken. So
What's weird on the social media aspect is that I have not seen no Sony fan now with that game coming to their system. Like, there's that talk about it, it's also gonna be on Sony platform. I don't hear that no more, and I haven't even seen anybody troll Microsoft that PUBG is in the state that it's in from the Sony side. I haven't seen that yet, which is weird because I think some people would have took that sly remark and made comments and stuff about Xbox players in the system getting a game in that in that nature after they did all this promotion for the game.
yeah, I don't know. I think honestly the basic gameplay of PUBG I think fits perfectly in the Xbox ecosystem. I don't think PlayStation owners really care a lot about PUBG. They if they want to play a PUBG game, they've got Fortnite. It's and I played a lot of Fortnite, and that game is a perfectly viable option for that style game. It's fun, it's weird, it's quirky, it's free also. So like I don't know. I just hope people like that want to be interested in PUBG stick with it because I think it is a cool concept for a game, and and they're working on it. So yeah. So I don't really know what else to say about PUBG except that like I hope they continue working on it. I hope Microsoft continues to fund the development of that game because I think that game in particular is important for Xbox. I think it's important that Xbox has that. So.
Yes. So, any more prediction? Any more titles and that you want to create and give an award, or do you think that's it?
I think that's it. like I said, I think next year I'm most anticipating what Microsoft has in store for us. I want to see the first party games. I want to see, I wonder if they're going to tease something because, Phil Spencer said they want to have their Horizon. They want to have their Uncharted. So, like, I want to see what happens with that side of things because, like, I love Horizon and, I recognize my nice way of saying I recognize how important Uncharted is for PlayStation. I don't really care for the series myself, but I recognize that is a big brand for PlayStation. I want to see how Microsoft handles those types of games. I want to see them do that. I want to see them go out and get Amy Hennig from EA now and be like, look, we're sorry, but we're going to give you a big budget and a studio to work around. Like, we've already have development started on these prototypes. What can you do? Like, what kind of story can you tell with these mechanics, stuff like that? I want to see them do that. I want to see them tease their version of what a Microsoft version of Horizon would look like. I want to see them have these cool experiences that, Sony already has. So, I want to see them tackle Fable in the way that Nintendo tackled Zelda. I want to see them do that kind of thing. And so we're in a transitional period of Microsoft not having anything this year, but maybe next year or the year after, they'll have games and prototypes developed that we'll be excited for. And it's not a bad time to be an Xbox fan. You've got great third-party games and great first-party titles to hold you over and games as service games, and the Xbox is not a bad platform to be on. We've said that multiple times. It's the hardcore gamers aspect of like PlayStation's winning in terms of sales and IP and first-party stuff they're putting out, and Microsoft is lacking in that department. But look, Xbox One is still outselling 360 at this point in its life cycle. Yes. Their sales numbers are up. They put out a great box. Now it's time to put the games out. I said this probably, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where they're taking the right steps and turning the Xbox platform into something people want to be on. Xbox Live is the best online gaming platform you have, right? It's better than PlayStation Network. It's better than anything you can run on PC. It's a platform that people enjoy, right? You've got this brand new box that can run true 4K HDR. It's got a 4K Blu-ray player in it. It's got the 4K apps for YouTube and Netflix and Amazon. They've turned that part around. They're updating their older games to have 4K HDR support on them. Halo 5 is still a fantastic multiplayer game. Gears of War 4 is a fantastic single player and multiplayer game. You've got games of service like Destiny 2, Call of Duty, all these other games that people enjoy on the platform. Assassin's Creed is a great single player experience you can have on the Xbox. And so the games are the core is there. Now it's time for them to expand on that and give us the software to look forward to in the future. So, yeah. Sorry, I just like to rant about things sometimes.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, everybody, that's going to do it for this special episode of Arsenal X. You can email the show at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com. Aha!
Yes.
Yes.
Finally got it.
You can follow me on Twitter at that retro code. You guys can check more of Arsenal X podcast on NGR Radio on YouTube.com. Just go ahead and subscribe to NGR Radio, and you guys will get the updates on when the episode goes live. Also, join us on our Facebook page, Arsenal X. We're going to be trying to do some more things on the actual Xbox for our Arsenal X community group. So we'll be looking more forward to that for 2018. We created it, but none of us has really dived in. We have busy lives, the life of adulthood, let's just say at this time. But we would love for you guys to join in and play some games with us and have some good conversations and everything. Corey, where can we find you at?
You can find me at CoreyNHD on Twitter and Instagram, and soon on the NGR Radio Twitch page, where we will be playing lots of fun games cooperatively. And, later we'll just export those to our YouTube page, and you can watch some crazy things happen. So,
yes.
Yeah.
All right. And everybody, as always, we throw up the X because we're about to exit out. Even though Disney now has brought Fox 21st century, we shall see what happens with that in the future. So with that, everybody, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.